I don't know what you've heard about him, but apparently he's quite the PIMP, and maybe one of the most recognizable faces in the hip hop world. But Curtis 50 Cent Fiddy Bloomin' Jackson is also a legend in the analog flicking world of gaming, so let's have a good old chinwag about it, shall we?
Yeah, let's take him back.
Like all good stories, this one starts with a bang. Well, actually 9 of them to be precise, as Fiddy was indeed shot 9 times. But Mr. Cent was so bloody hard he said, nah, piss to that, being a ruddy bullet sponge is just a cakewalk for me.
I got, shot 9 times, but it was one time. And I just didn't see the person coming, or I would have avoided it.
Wise words indeed, but no amount of bullets, even one to the old noggin, was gonna stop this man, as he was put on this planet with one sole purpose in mind, and that was to deliver gamers one of the greatest hidden gems to ever grace the ruddy world. Sure, he dabbled in music and a tad of acting first, and even notably handed Money the Prick Mayweather the only L of his career with this legendary video.
For you, Floyd, if you can read one full page of a Harry Potter book, nigga, I'll give $750,000 to whatever charitable organization you want to. We don't want to put pressure on you. We know you can't pronounce those words in that Harry Potter book, so we're gonna let you read Cat in the Hat.
Smashing stuff, well done old chap. Anyway, moving on, now all those side hustles were out of the way, he could get back to his main goal in life, and he soon blessed us with 50 Cent Bulletproof. Oh, wait. Ignore that one was quite shit actually. No, the game I'm talking about is the unapologetically silly and endlessly charming 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, of course.
50, jump over that big ass rim!
Now back to brass tacks, I welcome you to the video, and slight change up on our normal hidden gem formula, where instead of a list we will be highlighting one gem from our candy box of videos and showcase it in all its diamond encrusted glory. So sit back, pour yourself a cuppa, or if it's an acceptable time, a pint of the golden nectar, and let me tickle your pickle as I break down this absolute masterpiece.
I love 50 Cent.
To make a great game, you need a great studio, and the only studio capable of bringing old Fiddy's Citizen Kane to life would be a UK-based developer known as Swordfish Studios, a bunch of likely yellow teeth chaps, most notable for World Rugby Championship, international cricket. And yeah, of course, Cold Winter. Bloody bangers those. With such a high pedigree of iconic titles under their belt, they were the only real choice to create Fiddy's magnum opus, right? Well, this is where things get a bit more confusing than why any sane person actually listens to Sam Smith.
I'd be any type of fisherman.
As the story goes that the publisher of Vivendi Universal Games had the rights to just about every IP you could think of at one point, and that even included the works of author Robert Ludlum, with the first game they slapped out using this IP being actually the half-decent, often forgotten Jason Bourne title. So Swordfish's next title was actually meant to be an adaptation of Ludlum's Covert One novels, and this was going to take the form of a third-person military shooter that was set in the Middle East. But as this was meant to tie into a TV series that never made it off the ground, the only obvious decision was to take the already well into development game, remove the soldiers, and replace them with Fiddy and his G-Unit team. And just like that, bosh, 50 Cent Blood in the Sand was created.
Her name is Leela, Kamal's right hand.
That bitch has got my skull, and I want it back.
Now that all that malarkey was sorted, the game needed a story. But why would 50 and his chums be in the Middle East and fighting terrorists, you may ask? Well, it's a doozy, and obviously one of the most compelling plots you're likely to find, and puts The Last of Us proper to shame. You see, Fiddy and his chums are asked to perform a concert in an unknown country. They smash it and drop the mic, you know, cause they're gangsters. Then they march off hoping to get their bees and honey. However, even though they gently knock and politely ask for what is owed to them, the dude's like, nah mate, fuck that, the money's gone, some chaps mugged us, have this crystal skull instead. And a little unknown fact for you all is that Mr. Jackson is a lifelong fan of Indiana Jones. So Fiddy falls in love with the skull, like he really proper falls in love with it.
Where's my skull? That bitch has got my skull, and I want it back. Where's my skull?
But then golly gosh, wouldn't you know, terrorist attack and the skull is proper nicked. Being the absolute man made of mustard he is, 50 goes on a genocide mission, killing basically the population of a suburb just to get it back. Obviously though, this get rich or die trying tale is enough to recommend this gaming great alone.
Got him! Got it.
Clearly I'm joking, but what makes the game something truly bloody special is its balls to the wall, all out action and fun gameplay that you've got to bloom and love.
Go on.
So that's the story basically out of the way. So yeah, it's time to speak about the gameplay, and I've got to say, just ignore the ruddy ridiculous amount of helicopter boss fights this one has. From the minimal research I did, and I'm a busy man, you know, so I didn't do a lot. These sections were only included due to Fiddy's spawn, who I can only presume is named 25 Cent. He visited the developer's studio, played the game, and he said something along the lines of, "Yeah man, it's great and all, but add some motherfucking helicopters or my old man will pop a cap in your ass." So they did, and all was just peachy. Bloody hell though, I thought my son was demanding. The main meaty pork pie like filling of the game, however, is made up of Gears of War style third person shooter shenanigans, snapping to cover, recovering health, pop shots and dodge rolls. Good old standard stuff really, but yet thanks to the sheer absurdity of it, it was all just so goddamn entertaining. Performing counter kills, running around in slow-mo while Fiddy repeatedly curses at the goons who he's just ruddy massacred, really does just put the icing on the cake, and is as sweet as that first sip of water after a weekend bender with your ruddy mates. Talking of your old chums, the game's gripping narrative and shooty bang bang gameplay can be enjoyed in cooperative mode too, and sees your chosen knobhead getting to take control of one member of Fiddy's G-Unit posse. And as we all know that other than pubs and adult clubs, there's nothing better than getting the boys together for some good old co-op shenanigans. Overall, the game is just about as hard as my trouser eel when looking at Lizzo's big fat Death Star. But the inclusion of a point system and a healthy amount of unlockables sure then make up for the lack of difficulty. So yeah, you can unlock all the Todger blowing off firepower you could possibly ever ask for, but fucking hell, you can also spend your hard-earned pennies on more swears for Fiddy to use in game. Yep, you can buy swear words. And I'm not sure how this would work in the game world, but I can only fathom it's the equivalent of going up to Resi Falls merchant and Leon saying something along the lines of,
"What are you buying?"
"Oh bloody hell, thank you mate, I didn't know I could string these shitting sloth munching cock juggling words together like that before you arrived. Here's some money for your trouble."
Thank you.
I think that about covers the ruddy gameplay. Oh wait, bloody hell, I almost forgot there are some sections featuring 50 Cent and his motor, or as I believe the kids say these days, whip.
I hit him in the grill, then I bounced in the whip. I hit him in the mouth, then I fled in my car.
And other times where you man fuck off turrets sprinkled in for good measure. So yeah, to wrap up the gameplay, all I can say is from the first level to the last, you'll just be butchering faceless goons with some incredibly meaty feeling weaponry. And the shotgun here is true chef's kiss perfection and a true bloody delight to use. So what more could you ask for? Oh yeah, music. What earworms can you expect, I hear you ask? Well, unless your brain is as small as those fully grown men that scream and cry when reacting to movie trailers on YouTube, then it's pretty ruddy obvious that the songs that litter this title are all bangers made by Fiddy himself. They may not be your cup of tea, but if you're an old fart like me, then I'm sure they'll have you bobbing your noggin. And if you're one of those jackanapes that care about graphics, well, the game released back in the good old days of 2009, which to the uneducated, or as I call them dunces out there, the game obviously runs on Unreal Engine 3. Trust me, everything did back then. So it looks fine. It's no Linda Cardellini and hasn't aged like fine ruddy wine, but it's by no means Tara Reid either. Hey, sorry love, it's just a bit of banter, but maybe lay off the Charlie. Yeah. Unfortunately though, with all this praise I just showered on the game, it didn't sell that well, and barely took in anywhere near what Fiddy's first video game had made, which is a shame as the game received much higher critical acclaim. But at the same time, old Fiddy's popularity was at its peak when Bulletproof landed in stores, but had since faded quicker than Machine Gun Kelly's sanity by the time we got Blood on the Sand, which just kinda answers Fiddy's question, doesn't it? No, they would not love you if you were down and out, but anyone that's played this one knows it deserves so much more love and attention than it got upon release, especially as we are likely to never see a game like it again. I can't imagine any modern day rappers actually being able to use a gun, let alone kill half the population of a country just over a skull. Cause, well, how do I put this politely? They're all bloody mumbling and pussies.
I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it, and what's it seems weird and scary to me. It'll happen to you.
So let's wrap this up, shall we? My beans on toast are getting cold and my beer is getting warm. 50-cent Blood on the Sand is a bloody beauty that would make a fine addition to any gamer's collection. From beginning to end, losers lose and winners win. It's loud, it's brash, but more importantly, it's just a ruddy good game. It may be mindless for sure, but it's mindlessly entertaining all the goddamn same. Gaming has changed, and the time of the mid-tier game has gone, and in its place are unfinished, penny-grabbing, soulless AAA mush. So if you haven't already, bloody go give it a go. It's proper naughty.
Where's my skull?